I get it, so many monitors look stunning in the product photos, promising crystal clear images and buttery smooth touch, only to feel clunky, laggy, or just the wrong size when you finally set them up in a real office or classroom. That hesitation is what drove me to dig into the LG 75TR3PN Pro, because spending the money on a 75-inch commercial touchscreen is a big decision, and you don't want to end up with a billboard that never answers the call. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the sheer scale of this screen is what makes it stand out. At 75 inches, you're looking at a surface that can replace a wall of traditional monitors, which is exactly why it's being pitched to meeting rooms, digital signage hubs, and interactive classrooms. The UHD 4K resolution, 38402160, gives you enough pixel density that even when you zoom in on a spreadsheet or a design mockup, the text stays razor-sharp. In my test set up a 12-person conference room with a whiteboard-style workflow, the screen comfortably filled the entire front wall, so no one had to crane their neck to see the content. That visual real estate translates into fewer eye movements and a more immersive collaborative feel. The touch layer is capacitive and supports both finger and pen input, which is where the real-world value shows up. During a live demo with a design team, the pen latency felt almost imperceptible, letting us sketch wireframes directly on the screen without the jitter you sometimes see on cheaper panels. The ability to switch between finger gestures for quick navigation and pen for precise annotation means the monitor adapts to different work styles on the fly. However, the trade-off is that the touch surface is a bit glossy, so in a bright room with windows you'll notice some glare unless you add a matte film or control ambient lighting. That's not a defect, but something you have to plan for if the monitor will sit near natural light. LG marketed this model as a Google-certified display, and the integration lives up to that claim. The monitor comes preloaded with a Chrome OS-based interface that pulls in Google Workspace apps, and you can control the whole unit over LAN or RS-232. In practice, this means the IT department can push updates, lock down apps, or switch inputs without stepping into the room. For a school district rolling out a standard learning platform, this remote manageability cuts down on the tech support time dramatically. On the flip side, the reliance on Google's ecosystem can feel restrictive if your organization leans heavily on Microsoft or proprietary software. You'll still be able to run those apps, but you lose the one-click provisioning that Google-first environments enjoy. One feature that isn't always highlighted in the spec sheet is the LGI AI Helper. It's essentially an onboard assistant that can suggest layout changes, recommend optimal brightness based on the time of day, and even detect when the screen is idle for too long. In a pilot with a retail showroom, the AI nudged staff to dim the display during off hours, saving a noticeable amount on electricity bills. While the AI isn't a game changer for a small office, it adds a layer of automation that pays off in larger deployments where manual tweaking becomes a headache. Now, who should actually consider spending on this 75-inch beast? If you're managing a collaborative space where multiple people need to interact with high-resolution visuals, think architectural firms reviewing CAD files, universities conducting lab demonstrations, or a corporate boardroom that wants to replace a projector with a touch-enabled display, this monitor checks the boxes. The combination of 4K IPS clarity, pen-grade touch, and network control makes the purchase feel justified because you're buying a single device that replaces a projector, a whiteboard, and a set of desktop monitors. Conversely, if you're an individual creator looking for a home office monitor, the size alone could become a hindrance. You'll need a sizable desk or wall mounting solution, and the price point is steep compared with a standard 27-inch 4K panel that would already give you excellent picture quality. Also, if your workflow doesn't involve touch interaction, say you're mainly coding or handling spreadsheets, the added touch layer is more of a novelty than a necessity, and you might be better off allocating that budget toward a higher refresh rate monitor for smoother scrolling. A practical weakness that popped up during the extended test was the heat output. The 75-inch panel runs a fairly powerful backlight, and after several hours of continuous use, the rear of the unit feels warm to the touch. It isn't enough to trigger a thermal shutdown, but in a tightly enclosed ceiling mount, you might need to think about ventilation. Another point to watch is the speaker system. LG includes built-in speakers, but they're modest and sound best when paired with an external audio solution, you'll quickly notice they're not sufficient for a presentation that relies on rich sound. Value for money is where the conversation gets nuanced. The unit sits in the high-end commercial bracket, and the price reflects the large screen, 4K IPS panel, and enterprise-grade manageability. If you compare it to buying